And time now for another edition of Bases and Balls with my good friend Jim Rosenhaus with us here on WAK. Of course, Rosie, voice of our Cleveland Guardians. And Rosie, what a weekend, huh? I should say week. 6-0 homestand sweep for us over the Twins and the New York Mets. A lot of things went right, but the word that comes to my mind is clutch. Pitching and hitting with this 6-game homestand. Talk about it from your perspective.
Ray, it's been amazing the amount of games that the Guardians have won from the sixth, seventh inning on, where especially a game like on Wednesday, I mean, it just seemed like a sleepy day game after a night game. It was already a good homestand, and there so often you see that in baseball where a team just doesn't, it's just not clicking that day, and maybe they're down a little bit. And Stephen Vogt rested some regulars. He knew the bullpen was shot from heavy usage the night before. So, and I shouldn't say shot, but Clase wasn't available. Some others weren't available. But I think what we've seen from this team is it truly is they get it going with 26 guys, and it's not just your regulars, your superstars like Jose Ramirez. So I think that came into play, and man, from the sixth, seventh inning on, it is interesting. You said the word clutch, and I asked the assistant GM, Matt Foreman, about that the other day. Do you guys believe in clutch? Because there's some analytics numbers that say, that's not a thing. But don't tell that to Jose Ramirez late in the game or Josh Naylor late in the game. And what Matt said, his point was, when Jose Ramirez does it, it's a good player who's hitting as he normally does. It just happens to be late in the game. So, yes, to your point about clutch, they have some players who are having good seasons and they're doing their normal thing. It just happens to be late in the game.
It's good to see some of these kids come through for us, right? Jonathan Rodriguez gets his first hit in RBI, and it's nice to see Manzardo, and he went with that pitch nice, and he came up with a couple of big doubles for us during that homestand.
Yeah, it's coming for Manzardo, and I think it's what the folks in Columbus saw earlier this season when he was off to a really good start and earned the call up. Just much more comfortable. I talked to him the other day, and he said, "Look, obviously when you first get called up, you're nervous and you're not calm in the batter's box, which you have to be." And he just looks much more calm. He's taking pitches that are just off the strike zone instead of swinging at them, and there's a lot to like there, and it's getting exciting with him starting to come along.
You and I talked a couple of weeks ago about David Fry and his versatility. This guy's becoming a stud in the middle of that lineup. The pinch hit shot the other night, the 2-run hit the other day. And no matter where he plays, where he bats, he's really coming through for us big time.
It's amazing, Ray. They got him in a minor deal for a pitcher named J.C. Mejia. Not sure if you remember him, but between being hurt and then also, I think, 2 PED suspensions for Mejia, he's done nothing with Milwaukee. And the Guardians may have a really good regular here in Fry. He probably should be playing regularly, but they're trying to figure out how to maintain his versatility and still get his bat in the lineup and all that kind of good stuff. But he's been tremendous, has worked hard to become the hitter that he has been so far this season. And we saw a lot of signs of that a year ago. He just wasn't playing on as much of a regular basis. Now he's getting that regular playing time, and the versatility helps him so much to get in the lineup.
Guardians broadcaster Jim Rosenhaus with us, Bases and Balls. And Rosie, you and I talk about this each year about the bullpen. Some years on paper, it looks great. Some years you have question marks. And coming into the season, we were wondering how this bullpen would take shape. Well, the guys like Herron and Gaddis and some of these other guys have stepped up. All of a sudden, and knock on wood, we're early in the season, this bullpen just looks terrific for us right now.
At or near the top in all of baseball in terms of the numbers that matter. So I can't figure it out, Ray. Bullpens, we're sitting there. I remember Tom and I early in spring training games when we got the news that Trevor Stephan would have to have Tommy John surgery and Sam Hentges had come up with a finger issue, and who knows what's going on with James Karinchak. And it's turned out where it's opened a door for some others who have been terrific. And sometimes all you need is that opportunity. And in the case of like a Tim Herron and a Hunter Gaddis, they took their beatings a year ago. They learned. Um, Tim Herron probably saw way too much of I-71 between Cleveland and Columbus than he'd care to admit. I think 7 different times he went up and down, but he said every time he learned, and he really carried that into his offseason to prepare for this year. And he's a different pitcher in terms of command. And Hunter Gaddis, really more of a change of role for him, going from starting to relieving, and relieving just suits him tremendously. And it's been a real boost to the bullpen.
Boy, he has been lights out, Hunter Gaddis. Rosie, before I let you go, we've got the road trip in Los Angeles starting tonight against the Angels. And this is a team that's playing better than when we saw them last time. And then into Colorado. And this is a team that has really struggled so far, even though they also recently had a little bit of a winning streak. So talk about the road trip for us.
Well, look, at the last road trip that started in Chicago, the White Sox were the worst team in baseball, and they took 3 in a row from Cleveland. So it wasn't for a lack of trying. And as Stephen Vogt said, sometimes you run into some hot pitchers, and it's just the nature of the game, the ebbs and flows. So he'll have the team ready, but those teams will be ready too. And case in point, you mentioned Colorado. They swept Texas at home in a 3-game weekend series recently, and Texas is a really good ball club. So the Guardians will have to play good baseball and continue to do some of those little things that have really served them well, and then the occasional big hit from the Fries and the Ramirez's and guys like that.
Rosie, thanks for getting us on the schedule again. Always appreciated Fridays here on the show with Bases and Balls. Look forward to the calls all weekend in LA and into next week in Colorado, and we'll do it again next week. Thank you, my friend.
You got it right.